Is Boruto a good sequel? Now, it should come as no surprise when I say that Boruto is one of the most hated on anime / manga of recent times, and not just by the cringe communities of other series who treat everything as a gang war, but also by the fans of its franchise and original series, Naruto. For one reason or another, majority of Naruto fans and people who grew up watching the series really despise the follow-up story revolving around his son Boruto. And after talking about the sequel both in person to friends and online to you guys, I've been bombarded and surrounded with negative emotions about the series, which I'll admit I once had as well. And it started to make me beg the question, is Boruto the sequel we really wanted, or is it even a good sequel at all? Since these are two very loaded questions, I'll take a look at the first one, is Boruto the sequel we really wanted first, and then tie that in towards the is Boruto a good sequel at the end. Looking at Boruto at the surface with what's going on and what's happened in the manga, you can clearly see why some of the previous fans wouldn't like it. For example, instead of fighting shinobi, they're fighting aliens. Scientific ninja tools are introduced, a lot of the important cast members are cyborgs or their bodies were genetically modified with scientific ninja tools. The characters they could have spent up to 15 years with watching them throughout their story are now sealed and not the main focus anymore. And depending on how far you want to push it, there could be more reasons like those ones to deter people from finishing or ever starting the series to begin with. Even the name, Boruto, makes people not want to get into it because they see it more as a joking clear rip-off and copy from Naruto, even if they have no idea what it's about. Like I said in the very beginning, I myself was one of these people who didn't like it or want to give the anime a chance, but now I really enjoy the series. Mainly the manga, I'm not a big fan of the anime. So I feel like I can give some good insight on both sides of the argument here, based off what I've seen been said and my own personal experiences, so let's get into that. As dumb as it sounds, I did not want to give Boruto a chance and in fact, said it sounded awful and stupid when a good friend of mine all the way back in 2018 told me I should watch it purely because of the name Boruto, which felt like the cheap knockoff we have Naruto at home type vibe it gave me. In my mind, it felt like they were just milking the Naruto franchise and this show would never and could never come close to the same feeling and excitement that Naruto gave me, and could possibly ruin the good memories or moments I shared with it, which is a very flawed way of looking at it and is very judgmental of me. Several years later, when I got back into anime, I was once again recommended by a friend to watch it, so I gave it a chance and well, I had very mixed opinions about it. Straight away, one of the main criticisms about the series, which was the abundance of filler, was very noticeable and off-putting. Not to mention the amount of intolerable anime-only or side characters that I honestly couldn't care less about. After slowly getting through those two hurdles, I had to deal with the other main gripe of the series, which was the scientific ninja tools, which I hated. No other way to put it other than it was awful and ruined the show for me. Still wanting to have hope for the sequel, I forced myself to painfully watch the remainder of the anime, which I'm not sure how much was animated at the time. But once I finished it, I hopped on social media looking through Boruto stuff and kept on seeing how the manga was so much better. So I did what any sane person would and started reading the manga. Let's just say this took Boruto from a show I didn't like and had to force myself to watch, to me absolutely speedrunning the entire manga and not wanting to take a break. I fell in love with the series. What I'm trying to get at here is, if you're just blindly hating on Boruto when you haven't gave it the chance like I used to, you look stupid, and honestly I'd recommend you read a bit of the manga, it's really good. Now, if you started the anime and made it like 50 episodes in then gave up on it, you haven't even had any canon episodes yet, so you should once again try reading the manga, I promise it's good. There's a main theme with what I'm recommending here, and it's if you're going to consume Boruto, please read it instead of watching the anime. There's not a single person I've met who has read the manga giving it a fair, unbiased chance and hasn't liked it. Everyone I know who doesn't like it have only watched a bit of the anime and haven't even gotten to the Momoshiki fight or anything. So back to the question of, is Boruto the sequel we wanted? No, it wasn't. Instead, it was the sequel we needed. I say this because not once did I ever hear someone go, damn, an anime of Naruto's son would go crazy, imagine all the shinobi he'd be fighting in the time of peace. It was instead people wanting a prequel series of the Warring States period, or a series revolving around just Hashirama or Minato or any of the characters who were hyped up or had any vague strength statements made about them, but never got screen time like Kakashi's dad, Sakumo Hatake, or even Shisui. I'm pretty sure an anthology series was what most people were looking forward to, which I couldn't disagree with more. There's a load of issues with all these. For starters, let's say we get a Warring States sequel, right? All that's gonna be is constant fighting and battle. Something which, yes, I know there's a magnitude of differences with, but it was a complaint so many people had for the Fourth Great Ninja War. It was just constant fight after fight, which didn't really feel too interesting. Because let's be real here, if Kakashi or Guy haven't permanently died yet, they aren't going to be dying to the Edo Swordsman or any of the White Zetsu. Then there was the introduction of all these people who honestly we did not care about. No one likes Genkaku or Kinkaku. No one likes the Swordsman or any other random people reincarnated. So if we just get the constant battles and they're introducing people like Madara's 8th cousin, it does not matter to us. It will just get repetitive of, oh look, this new random person is introduced, okay, he dies now. Because we obviously know they aren't of any importance if they weren't brought up once, even in Naruto or Shippuden. This is something JJK is currently being criticized for, and no hate on JJK or anything, but the manga is getting repetitive. It's the same thing with, oh look, Sukuna, the big bad villain guy, is constantly winning against these people who keep challenging him, and the need to constantly bring up that he's holding back is thrown up on panel every chapter. Take that with a grain of salt coming from me though, as I currently don't read JJK. I do keep up with the leaks, but all of my Twitter is full with it, and even seeing the biggest fans and content creators saying that it's getting repetitive does mean something. It's been like 10 months and Sukuna's still just fighting people. The only saving grace a Warring States sequel would have is just seeing the fights between Hashirama and Madara, but even then, give it like 2 or 3 times and it's played out and will get boring. There's no space to add anything hyper interesting or new concepts because we know that there isn't any, and we know how things play out. On top of that, this opens up a can of worms for possible retcons and inconsistencies within the plot if certain things go overlooked. A series revolving around Hashirama as the main character would be more interesting than just the Warring States time period one, since we get to see his supposed fight with Kakuzu and how he actually died, and the full battle between himself and Madara at the Valley of the End, along with the Leaf Village building and construction, which would be cool as well, don't get me wrong. But this all would fit so much better as kind of a one-shot manga like Minato has, or it could even spread to like 2 volume or 1 single omnibus format like Minato's. There's nowhere near enough substance to have a full-on long-lasting prequel, since we just know too much and how everything plays out. It would garner no ooh what happens next I can't wait to see type thing that Boruto currently has. The same thing would apply to a Shisu series, Sakumo Hatoke series, the Sannin in their Prime series, even a peak Uzumaki clan series. All of this would fit so much better as a one-shot manga or something else along those lines. The only other way I could have seen a different sequel being made is if it takes place years, like hundreds of years after Naruto and Sasuke's death, making them be treated and held in the same regard as Hashirama and Madara were, with being known as legends and the strongest. This way, the time of peace could easily be broken back to constant wars and battles, and it would create intrigue and mystery as to what will happen next. But this also comes with its own set of issues, one of them being the complete disregard of Naruto's whole meaning as a series and goal as a person, ending the cycle of hatred. This would feel like the biggest spit in the face if it were to happen in my opinion. So why did we need Boruto to be the sequel instead of these? It basically doesn't have anything these other ones are flawed with, as well as having its own original plotline and story points not held back or handicapped by needing to end a certain way or have things play out according to what was shown and displayed in the original Naruto manga. Kishimoto has free reign to do quite literally whatever he desires with the story, all contributing to the mystery and hype of wanting to know what happens in the next chapter or where things will end up being later down in the line. He's doing all of this while keeping the familiarity of the original cast and village from Naruto in play, and staying true to Naruto's completed goal of creating a time of peace within the world and ending the cycle of hatred. With how Shippuden ended, we were left with the introduction of a clan of godlike alien parasites known as the Otsutsuki, which greatly expanded the Naruto universe and lore, and since the time of peace was among us, the route that Boruto took with having the Otsutsukis be the main initial villains, along with Kara, was the best possible option. Now, the Shinju are the main enemies, and they are acting in a completely different way than the Otsutsuki's, and aren't directly related to the clan at all, yet it all still fits within the realm of what was introduced at the end of Naruto, while having enough separation from it for it to be distinctly different, if that makes sense. So was Boruto a good sequel? Yes, of course it is. It's definitely not perfect though. The Ninja Tools introduction was disgusting and turned a lot of people away from the series, but it was fixed and hasn't made an appearance in the manga since like the 23rd chapter, and it will never come back. Boruto's attitude towards his father was lame as well, but it was a character trait and he got over that and started respecting his father midway through the first arc. With the sequel series inevitably being made for Naruto and having to go off of what was previously laid out and kind of written to a dead end in a sense with the shinobi fighting shinobi concept, Boruto is basically as good as it could be for building off of and a direct follow-up story to the previous without venturing too far off what made Naruto as good as it was. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it at any time, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs and I'm fairly close, around 250 away. It would mean a lot. All good if you don't, no pressure, no hard feelings, and have a good day.